Hi there. My name is Eric Ryan, and this is going to be tip number 4 in our top 10 strategic planning tips for you and your service center. So, tip number 4 is this: approach planning as a cycle, not as an event. This one kills me because so often people will approach me and say, "Hey, Eric, can you and your colleagues help us create a strategic plan?" And I already know right off the bat that what they're thinking about is an event. Like, "Hey, we need a plan. Can you facilitate a retreat? Can you help us create a plan?" All good, but when I hear that, I know immediately how I can best serve them and help them is to not only help them create a plan, but to shift their mindset to creating an ongoing process. Because here's the problem: when planning is viewed as an event, ideally you create a plan to create a stronger organization. When it's viewed as an event, you might get some strength out of that right after the planning event. Maybe it's a retreat or something. But what happens is if you think of it just as an event, you don't think about how you and your team are going to execute this over time, and you start to lose the impact of the plan over time. And in fact, it hurts you as a leader because and it creates conflict because people, man, you took us off on this. You took all of us off on this retreat. You aren't really maintaining accountability to the goals. It costs us a lot of money. It costs time, whatever. People have better things to do. You may have been engaged in a strategic planning process like this before. And a cornerstone of that is because it's viewed as an event. So what we'd rather have you do is to view planning as a cycle. Now, this is our cycle and we love it, but if you have your own process or cycle, then go ahead and use that. But we call our cycle the CAPE cycle. And there's 4 steps to our cycle. And this is played out over the course of a year plus. And you can repeat it. The 4 steps are: step 1, champion; step 2, assess; step 3, plan; and step 4, execute. What I want you to take away from here is not so much the details of these steps, although I could talk at length about those. The idea here is that it's a cycle, it's ongoing, never ending. There's a champion step where you and your team clarify who's leading this process. You do some form of assessment, you create some sort of plan, and then you execute like mad. This process here might take a month or 2 annually, and then you're executing over the course of the year. The main part of this whole process is executing. And you, of course, you're going to pause as you execute your plan to reassess and revise the plan. But you could create this sort of annual cycle in service to a larger vision, a multi-year vision. Now you've got some muscle as a team. And that's what we like to say is that when you get that cycle going, you and your SBDC can really fly. Now, I get this is a little cheeky, but it's a great way of remembering it. Once you put on your CAPE, once you put your CAPE process in place, now you all are able to really fly. And what's interesting about this is that this cycle can take place over the course of a year. And so you can see me unveiling the different parts of this. Someone's championing your strategic planning over the course of a year, you're executing it, you have some form of assessment and plan, and then you repeat. So again, this is a sample. You don't have to follow these exact months or whatever, and then you got some quarterly reviews in here. But the concept here is it's a cycle, you've got your CAPE, you all can really fly, and you're really using this. Now, conveniently, that CAPE cycle and the concept here aligns beautifully with accreditation. Now, accreditation in the SBDC world is all about quality improvement. That's its roots with the Baldridge process. And on page 2 of the current set of standards, you'll see these 4 stages here of the quality improvement cycle. How do you approach your work? How do you then deploy it? What do you and your team learn? And then how do you integrate it? Conceptually, this is very similar to the CAPE cycle I shared with you a few moments ago. So I'm not married to you having using CAPE or something, but the CAPE cycle. But what I've learned over the years is if you approach planning as a cycle and not as an event, then you're going to get a heck of a lot more benefit out of the process because you're going to execute over time, you're going to measure, you're going to track, as opposed to sticking the plan on the shelf and watching it collect dust.